It's great to have you back. In case you're just joining in, this is Rise and Shine Daily, reaching from the stables of Spectrum Television right here in the beautiful hills of Ibiakuran. And just so you know, we are live on Facebook and of course on Instagram with the handle at SpectrumTvNG, and the website is www.spectrumtv.ng. And you just saw the report, and we're talking bullying, and our guest is still in the studio, so let's jump right back into it.
Yeah, of course, jumping right back into it, like he said. Talking about bullying, what's the level of awareness? In as much as you hold the opinion that it's become an acceptable norm, but is there much awareness? What's the level of awareness to tell people that, yo, this is not the right way to go?
Okay, why I said is accepted is because it wouldn't have been this popular now if not for the sly boy that died.
Okay.
So it's been there. Nobody seems to take any drastic action, any intentional action to stop this. Senior students have been bullying people from day one.
That's right.
Just because this young man died, that's why social media raised awareness.
Okay.
And everybody starts seeing bully as some sort of this thing. At homes, people are being bullied.
Let me step right in. We have a lot of people, group of people that could be at risk of bullying. We know we have bullies in levels and all sort of types now.
Yeah.
What will you say would be the specific risk, risk level or age group that face these bullies almost every day?
Let's say from 5, 6
Okay.
to maybe 10, 12 thereabouts, depending. You know, bullying, it happens where a person feels is superior to the other. It can be an older person, and it can also be a younger person to another younger person, and it can also be an older person to another older person. So different people can be at risk of bullying per time, depending on the situation.
And you see that these young people that feel, I'm a victim, they don't really know how to stand up for themselves. So what preventive measures or what boundaries should they put? Should they guard themselves, maybe put lockers around themselves in the classroom so that the bullies do not come closer? What preventive measures should they actually put in place for themselves?
Well, first is orientation, sensitization. Now, Sly has died and everybody is now open. Oh, this bully is bad, bully is wrong, and all of that. Everybody has to sit up. Parents, teachers, even the government have to be intentional, because we need a thriving environment for everybody to grow and learn. First, we take responsibility, everybody, in church, in school, the government, even in the family. You take responsibility for the life that is under your care. The reason why I'm saying this is that family is the first social unit.
That's right.
And when the family is altered, something is wrong even to the government. Because if, for example, parents take responsibility, whenever your child comes back from school, you ask them some certain questions. How was school today? You will even notice if your child is withdrawn, which is one of the symptoms of a child that is being bullied. They will be afraid of going to school. They will the older ones will look for excuse. Anytime they hear issues of school, they will, shrivel out, and you're supposed to ask that, okay, something is definitely wrong with my child not wanting to go to school. Because apart from the initial phobia of starting school, after some time the child should grow into accepting the new environment. But if that environment is toxic to that child, of course nobody will want to.
Now let's get right into the hearts of these bullies.
Okay.
Now let's say I'm a parent of someone who's a bully. What's the position a parent should take? Because most times parents know their children, their capacity, those ones that are bullied, or probably they've gotten reports, oh, here, this is what your child did, this is what your child did. What should the parents do to a child who's a bully? How can a parent actually help a bully to stop bullying?
Well, sadly, it's from parental failure. Can you give birth to a child that is a bully? It first will point to you. There is something you're supposed to do, you're not doing. That your child become so uncompassionate that is bullying other people's children. First, you need to. Sadly, the parents can be bullies too. Because if a child grows up in a family where daddy is bullying mommy, talking to mommy anyhow, you can physically bully somebody. It could be emotional, it could be psychological, it could be sexual. So if a child grows up seeing daddy or mommy bullying daddy, the child will pick up, and children picks up things whether you say it or not. They copy what you do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if a child grows up in a family or a setting that bully is common, that child is most likely will be a bully now. He will see others as small gods. He's a bigger god, and so The bully starts from there.
So what's the remedy? Let's talk about how a parent who knows, probably maybe the parent doesn't have that threat of bullying, and the child is exhibiting it, and reports are getting back to the parents. What should the parent do how can the parent handle that?
You call your child to order. That's where discipline comes in. If you have not lost the child already. If you have not, because if you have lost the child, okay, what do you think a parent would do to a child that is in SS3 and bullying the younger students, and that child is almost like 15, 16? It's difficult to correct at that point. Possibly could have been through peer pressure or something, but it's difficult, except you do something drastic to that child that would dent the child's image and serves as a deterrent from bullying others. If not, it's almost gone. They are the ones that go ahead to be cultists. And of course, you know what that means.
Now, just before we continue, let me tell you something that happened to me some time ago. I was bullied as a kid.
I too.
Okay, great. I'm happy. I'm happy we're breaking this out now. I was bullied as a kid, and I was someone who loved to stand up for others, and of course myself. But when the bullying thing came into being, I had to find a way to stand up for myself. I had to learn karate at the time. Now, I know there are thousands of kids around the world, and Africa, Nigeria specifically, of course, Akwa Ibom more particularly, who are going through this same issue. Now, how and what do you expect them to do on a personal level to pretty much build self-confidence and speak up for themselves?
Well, first depends on the age. You won't talk about self-confidence for possibly a 2-year-old child that started school, or 3-year-old or 4-year. Self-confidence will start building. Though the parents play a role too in trying to speak to the child. You can speak to your child even in the womb. Start speaking to the child even when the child is born. Start speaking. That helps to build the child's self-confidence. But when a child is not up to the age of self-awareness, to know that this person is doing to me is wrong, and start speaking up or talking to mommy or daddy, it becomes very difficult. But from 5, 6, 7, they've started, knowing who they are, at least to some extent. So you build that self-confidence and intentionality in them, that if this person says this to you, it is wrong. If this person does this to you, it is wrong. And start speaking up for yourself. Or you could report to your teacher or any adult around. But first, it's personal responsibility for the older children. For the younger ones, I guess maybe the teachers or
the caregivers.
The parents, caregivers can speak for them, because at that point, obviously they don't know what you're doing to them. Just like a child that is being sexually abused, a young child, they don't know. And most of the time, that's why you find out those children, when they are being abused, they will not be able to speak out, because the adult knows and plays with their mind. Don't tell anybody, or if you tell anybody, you will die. And some of those stuff. So in bullying, it can happen. That sly boy, God knows what they threatened him with, for him not to have said it until
it was too late.
Now let's look at these bullies, because we understand that we have the victim and
the victor. Predator.
That's right. Now, I mean, we cannot throw them away.
We can't, they are children.
And maybe there could be ways that can, Now, would you say that these bullies really need intervention? And if you say yes, like as a child advocate, what preventive or intervention measures would you recommend for them?
They do. They are human beings.
I know.
And this, I think Emma said, we serve the human beings. They are human beings. And so first is we need to call the adults in their lives, the parents. It still boils down to the parents, because it started from the family. We call the adults in their life, both the parents, the teachers, and the people they respect. People are more likely to change their behavior listening to people they respect and reverend. You get? So we call them, this child is a bully. You can look for a psychologist. That child might be going through some stuff you don't know. And especially in this world, this fast-paced world, people are going through a lot, even our children.
That's right.
And the parents don't know. So you could find a psychologist, a child psychologist, to talk to the child. What happened? What prompts you into carrying out these behaviors that affect or hurt another person? You'll be shocked at what you reveal. And then from there, you can build that trust and compassion. Let them be empathetic and compassionate. Okay. What you wouldn't want somebody to do to you, of course,
Don't do so.
Don't do so.
Now,
That will build compassion in them, and they will see other people like themselves, and I think it will reduce bullying to some
Let me
extent.
quickly ask, is there a link between bullying and depression for children, for kids?
Yes, depending. Yes, the brain is a very funny creature God gave us. If one thing is removed, all, it's just like all or none. One thing is removed, something can happen to the total being. So, if, for example, I was a bully, okay, somebody bully, okay, like I said, I was a class prefect from my JS1 to SS3.
Okay.
When you write names, those older ones will deal with you.
Okay, like names of
Noisemakers, they will deal with you. So, I was bullied. When I'm going back home, they will flog me. So, maybe that would have impacted on my mind. And me too, I can turn. I want to be bullied. Yes, because I remember with my classmates in SS3, all the beatings they beat them, they returned it back in 100 folds. So it can have a ripple effect. It can have a ripple effect depending on the personality of the person, because personality too is very, very important. Okay,
what can teachers do to reduce the level of bullying in our schools? Because these are the people that stay with the children most of in the larger hours of the day, and they see most of these things. Maybe they're looking at it as a normal thing. How can they help, or what message should be taken to them?
That's why I said we have accepted it as a norm. We might have accepted it consciously or unconsciously. Consciously in the fact that you saw a senior student bullying the junior student and you thought it was a normal thing, knowing that you were bullied. So it's normal. In fact, in Nigeria, sorry to say, we accept things to be normal until that thing is detrimental to one person. This wouldn't have blown if that boy
didn't die.
Okay, now that we are woken up to the call, what message should be taken to them?
Teachers should be more attentive. And I think teaching is about passion. Teaching is just like parenting. You don't get any too much gain from it. It is a sacrifice. So teachers should be more attentive to the children, especially the younger ones, and then the junior classes. We have matron. We used to have matron. We used to have hall masters and all of that. They are the ones that are supposed to, from time to time, find out if these children have. Most of all, they collected everything we had. Our hall masters were there, and to be very frank, some of them knew these things happen. So the teachers need to be more attentive. If you're a hall master, do what you ought to do. At least protect a child or children under your care.
Okay, now we understand that there are words like direct bullying and indirect bullying. Now, how do you help a child understand that this is bullying? This is not normal. This is not normal at all. This is actually bullying. How can you help a child notice or understand that this is not normal?
Simple. When somebody behaves to you in an abnormal behavior, that means, for example, I'm a student. I have my colleague comes, spank me, bah, and wants me to accept it that is a play. That is not play.
Yeah.
You are sitting. I remember in my secondary school, a young boy kept a pen, and a lady sat on it. You know, normally, on the other side, they will say, it's just a child. But no, that's abnormal. In fact, that's devilish. Because the girl almost, you understand what that means.
Yeah.
So when somebody behaves to you an abnormal behavior, that is not normal. That's bully, or whatever you want to call it. It has a tendency of harming you either physically or psychologically or even emotionally. So directly is somebody is harming you, is hurting you, something that is harmful to you. That's not joke. Personally, if for example I'm sitting here, I remember in my university days, maybe you just come and spank me. I'll tell you, please don't do it again, I beg. You make me feel first uncomfortable, and it's hurting. So whenever a child is treated abnormally, you tell your child, please, if this guy comes, okay, for example, in child abuse, we tell if somebody touches sensitive part of your body, it's not a joke, whether it's an adult or your peer. So it's the same thing. So when somebody behaves to you or treats you abnormally, that's different from joke. It's not joke. Joke is when you come, you shake me, or we play normal play. But when it comes being hurtful, It shouldn't be, because that's how to cross this place. That's invitation for fights.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Now,
invitation for
we
fights.
understand that being an advocate is also a skill.
Yeah.
Do you incorporate children, or do you give room for children to, become advocates for themselves too?
Yes, they do.
Because we need to teach these children how to stand up for themselves.
yeah.
Now, what are those skills that you recommend for them as an advocate?
First is the inclusiveness. You include them. Whenever you're going for advocacy, sensitization, in secondary school, especially the ones I do, you talk to them about who they are first and what they are here for. Everybody is here for something. So they have to come to the realization of self-awareness to know who they are. And then they'll be able to stand up to defend that personality they have. We teach them personal responsibility. We teach them goals, who they are, and how they can become what God said they should be. We also teach them defending themselves, especially child abuse cases, where an adult, either you defend yourself through your mouth, or you defend yourself however you want to, or you can run away or talk to an adult. We defend them, but first to speak up.
All right, now let's jump into defending themselves. I like that part because it reminds me of me, right? So now, I wouldn't want to go into the story, but bottom line is I had to learn a form of martial arts to defend myself.
Very important. I will teach my child.
So we should all
Now, that's how I'm going to find out. Okay, now in this fast-paced society where we find ourselves, and the girl child most of the times is disadvantaged because we have a lot of sexual predators everywhere. Would you recommend a form of martial arts self-defense for children?
Very well.
Very well.
100%.
From what age, really?
From 5.
5 upwards.
Oh, yes, from 5. Very well.
I'm planning already.
Seriously, very well. No, seriously, we live in a very wicked, the Bible calls it perilous times. We live in a perilous time, so everybody has to be on their toe, else
A lot can just go wrong.
a lot can go wrong under your nose.
Yeah,
Under your nose.
Okay, quickly on your last words on bullying. Your recommendations, you say you recommend martial art. I don't know how that works.
We'll get to that after the show. I'll tell you how it worked for me. I'll tell you how it worked for me.
You can work directly and indirectly.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
because martial arts to some extent gives self-confidence.
Confidence,
It
yeah.
boosts self-confidence. and
You're
that
able
is
to
very-
defend yourself.
Yeah.
At least maybe not physically, but you can
Yeah.
at least defend yourself.
Be vocal
verbally,
about it,
Yeah.
And now, at the time you injure, it becomes hurtful to the other person. Won't it still translate to bullying?
No, that's self-defense. That's what it's called.
Okay, now we'll put a pause to it right here, and when we return, Rise and Shine continues. Meanwhile, thank you very much for being a part of the show.
Thank
We
you.
look
It's
forward
been
to
great.
having you
Thank you.
another
Subsequently, yeah.
subsequently.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you very
so do stay with us. Rise and Shine continues after now.